You're listening to Where You Live with Gene and Tony.
Welcome back to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. We have been talking about the legislation that's proposed right now, SF 926. I was thinking we were getting ready to move on, but Tony,
I have more to say.
You have a few more things you want to say.
These are proposed amendments to HOA 515B, which governs homeowner associations, and also another statute, 500, which talks about flag display and non-commercial signs. I just want to go through exactly what these amendments are talking about. In the sign and flag thing, they are saying that they would prohibit homeowner associations and cities from putting restrictions on flagpoles, putting restrictions on non-commercial signs, which is defined as political signs, all right? They are also amending 515B to make it impossible for local ordinance or homeowner associations or landlords to prohibit changing landscaping in areas for the exclusive use of that unit, would prohibit these same entities from restricting alternative energy improvements like solar panels, windmills.
We said it even could be clotheslines.
A clothesline.
Too.
The amendments are also trying to make it impossible for management or homeowner associations or their maintenance people to enter a unit for any reason without prior permission from the owner. Now, these are applied to all homeowner associations. As we said earlier, some of this may make more sense for a single-family detached home, but certainly in a stacked condominium, if the fifth floor has a plumbing leak that's leaking down to the fourth, third, second, and first, how can we say that the association cannot enter to stop that property damage?
Yeah, and I think when speaking with Chris earlier too, this last week here about that, one of the things that he mentioned was that even though they were kind of broad in their language, they certainly did not want to. The intent
encourage
was
property
not to,
damage.
Yeah,
I'm sure they did it,
and that's needed.
The last thing that is amended by these proposed amendments is the majority requirement for certain situations. In 515B, they talk about how to terminate a common interest community or alter one, and the statute currently says that 80% of the members and the mortgagees have to vote. There has to be a super majority. He wants to change that to a simple majority.
And so, the difference is simple majority is just over 50%. So 51
of all the members.
So 51%, and you can do that, as opposed to a supermajority. And one of I think that could be. I don't think that would be a good idea.
I don't either. There's a reason that our legislators in the past called for a supermajority to terminate your association, and that's because you're dismantling a structure. Everyone purchased their homes in that association with this, knowing that this association was going to be in existence.
You're right. Even though some people want to say that that a lot of realtors just downplay that. No, a lot of people know very
what they're
well
buying.
What it is that they are buying.
Yep.
Now, it looks like we have someone on line one. We have Marianne from St. Paul. Good morning, Marianne.
Good morning.
What would you like to say?
Well, I've been listening to your program about the Town Homeowners Association, and I'm living in the second Town Homeowners Association. And in both associations, I have been a member of the board of directors. And we have people all the time that think that they should be able to do what they want to do, which is just for them.
Yeah.
This is a common interest community. We're trying to maintain the integrity of our community, and we don't want junk cars on the driveways. We don't want junk in the lawns. We have to contract with people to do the landscape, the mowing of the grass, the maintenance, to keep it looking nice, to keep our values up. We have to contract to do the snow removal. We have to contract to do the trash removal. And, we're doing a lot of things for these people, and a lot of people that move into these places.
There's a lot of service being provided.
There's a lot of service being provided, and they couldn't do it for themselves.
Yes.
They're
and not for that price.
No. And yeah. And so I think that Chapter 515B was the best thing that ever happened, and I think that this Senate File 926, everything is already covered in 515B.
I agree with you on that.
And so, can you imagine what it'd be like, Mary Ann, if when it says non-commercial signs that anybody could put any kind of thought down there that they want? And in the initial proposed legislation here, it also says that they can even light that sign too. I don't know that I would want some disgruntled homeowners to be able to just have a blank slate to say whatever they want to.
Well, I would wonder who would want to buy.
There you go.
A unit there. I wouldn't.
And that's a very good point that we haven't even touched on. The whole purpose of the board is to maintain the values of the properties, correct?
That is correct.
Man.
And our board happens to be active. We do walkthroughs.
Yep.
One of the reasons we do walkthroughs is not only to see the maintenance work that needs to be done, but also to check on our vendors that we hired
there you go.
To do the work. You have to check up on absolutely everybody.
That's right.
So let me ask you, do you have, is there always a big issue with making quorum with the homeowners association's annual meeting?
No, we haven't had that, thankfully.
Good.
We do always have issues. People want to think that they can do their individual thing, like the lady that you had on earlier.
Yeah.
And they can't grasp their mind around us that this is a common interest community, and we want to keep up our value so that when you decide to sell your unit, you can get a good selling price for it.
Yeah. Now, you've probably had a situation where every once in a while there hasn't been enough for a quorum for an annual meeting, but you just go ahead and have another notice?
We
get a few
haven't had
proxies?
that problem with our annual meeting. We had a deal where we were trying to get something passed. We have updated all of our governing documents that can be updated based on 515 because our association was incorporated under just days before it went to 515.
Oh, okay. All right.
Really?
All right.
100 and something.
Yeah.
So we had some issue when we were trying to do some updating, and what we did, we knew that we were going to have a problem, and so what we did was we figured this all out and figured out that we would have people sign.
Yep.
Proxy, and so that's what we did.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, Marianne, I'm so glad you called because you're such a great example of a proactive board of directors and an active homeowners association. These amendments, while they might help someone in one association, are going to harm those associations that are governing themselves.
One thing I haven't heard you talk about is the Townhome Association needs to put monies away to cover the future needs, the putting on of new roofs, the putting on of new siding.
Yep.
And we're trying to build up our
reserves
for that. And we have the hardest time with people, well, I'm going to be dead in 30 years. I don't care. Well, but right now you're using up the life of that thing.
That's right. And besides that, you may want to sell that house in 10 years. And buyers are better educated now than they were 15 years ago. They look at those reserves. And they say, you know what, if the roof's 15 years old and you don't have money to replace it, I'm not going to buy.
Yeah. And my daughter went hunting for a townhouse a year ago, and I was with her. And there was only one place where we asked the real estate agent if they knew about what the reserves were for that association. There was only one association that knew
what you
had money information available.
Wow.
And you will find out that there are so many that are so under reserved for what their future needs are going to be. And around here, I don't know if you read the papers, but there have been people that have been assessed. One complex had to do siding and roofs, and those people were assessed like up to $30,000.
Oh my gosh, a special assessment.
That's something people don't want to see.
No.
Yes.
Well, Mary Ann, thanks so much for giving us a call this morning. We appreciate your thoughts.
You're entirely welcome. Thank you.
Well, it looks like we were going to go on one other topic, but I think we will stay on this for the rest of the show.
Because I'm not done.
Yeah, and you're not done yet, and we may have more folks that may call in here. I do have a comment from someone by email, but you know what? I'm going to take a break right now.
Okay.
And then when we come back, there'll be time for some closing comments and even one more call, 651-289-4488. You're listening to Where You Live with Gene and Tony on AM 1280, The Patriot.